Can changing the way that you look at the world and your mindset about the world actually change how people treat you in real life? Yeah, it can. I promise. It's not just some like woo-woo kooky manifesting stuff, which is also totally legit, but there's real neuroscience to it. I'm Chelsea Albert. I'm your happy neighborhood hypnotherapist, and I specialize in helping people free their mind from the past so that they can create the future that they're worthy of. So, a lot of manifesting and a lot of spirituality will say, well, we create our own reality. However, that is legitimately true from a very grounded scientific perspective. You see, when we go out into the world, our brains are little association machines. Our brains are literally built to make generalizations, because that way, if we know that all things are like this one thing, we can say, get it, got it, move on, and we can devote more brain space to staying safe, getting food, getting shelter. It's a beautiful survival mechanism that we have, but it doesn't really serve us when it comes to making our lives better. You see, what the brain's gonna do is it's going to say, this one person treated me poorly. Now, in order to stay safe, I am going to assume that any other person who reminds me of that one person is going to treat me poorly so that I don't have to waste my time with it. Where it gets tricky is in this modern day. The generalizations our brains make don't necessarily stop us from hanging out with these people and from entertaining these people. And the generalizations that our brains will make are often so much bigger and more broad to the point where it doesn't serve us. Case in point, as you can tell, I am a female. I identify as a woman and I'm great with it. There is a lot of culture in the female culture that says men suck right now. And it's really, really unfortunate because I know for a fact they don't. In fact, dudes are some of my best and favorite clients, in all honesty. And I have been super blessed to have wonderful men in my life who have demonstrated to me that men don't suck. I realize it's not the same for everyone, but just go with me on this example. So let's say somebody has had an experience where a man has treated them poorly. Let's say this man has cheated. Let's say this man has been abusive. Let's say this man has just been angry. Let's say this man's just been lazy and no good and just a, resource sponge. Now, there are people like that of all genders, of all races, of all creeds, of all religions. But because this one person's particular brain wants to stay safe and has latched on to the idea of men are like this, that person's brain is going to say all men suck. And that becomes the story, that becomes the belief. Now we're getting into the unconscious here. So what's gonna happen is this person's gonna go out into the world. Now they're still craving love, they're still craving connection, and connection happens among all sexes, among all genders. So let's say this person is heterosexual. She's still going to care for and desire male companionship. But there's that underlying belief that men suck. So, here's where the manifesting comes in. That belief that all men suck is going to lead her to believe that sucky men are the norm, which means that that's what she will accept, right? So now you're getting into a story that has actually really affected your real world because, again, the brain wants to stay safe. It's going to look for what is easiest. The brain is always going to draw you to the low-hanging fruit, okay? Men all suck. This man happens to suck, but he's the best of the sucky ones. I'm gonna go for this. Now what happens when you change your mindset? If you were to shift your mindset to that one man in my past sucked, and again, we're just using men as an example here, I'll use women in a sec. That one man in my past sucked. That those 15 men in my past may have sucked, but not all men suck. Now what happens is you are telling your brain that what was in the past was not normal, was not the thing to be expected. And so, anytime a gentleman acts in a sucky way, that will become the anomaly. That will become the thing to not accept. That will become the thing that goes, ooh, that was different, I don't like that. And all of a sudden, that woman will find herself only entertaining men that treat her well, because not all men suck. Those 15 might have sucked, but that's not the norm. So our brains will draw us to what we believe is expected. Now, on the flip side, and let's use women as an example here just for fairness, when you go out into the world and you have listened to all this social media, all this, all this propaganda that people in general suck. And again, that might be true. But let's say you've also had, let's say you're a male and you've had a negative experience with a female. You'll already be more primed, if that is the unconscious belief, you'll already be more primed to believe that there is an insult coming from a woman, which then leads us to act in insulted ways. So let's say you had an experience with an abusive woman, because they are out there. Narcissistic women exist. And we have to own that in order to just be generally aware of it and just accept it. So let's say you're a man who's had an experience with a narcissistic woman. Now, what might happen is you might meet a woman who perfectly innocently makes a comment that could very well be construed as a narcissistic comment. It's not in her mind, and it's not her intention to be narcissistic. She may have just simply seen the story in a different way. However, your brain will interpret that as gaslighting because of that past experience. And again, your brain's really trying to keep you safe. So it's very, very sweet of your brain to do this, but it's not helpful. So now what happens is, in any other social setting, if you're just hanging out with the guys and a dude says the same thing, it won't bother you so much. It won't ruffle your feathers. But if a woman was to do or say the same thing, it's going to put up all kinds of alerts, it's going to put up all kinds of alarms, and most likely what's going to happen is you're going to react differently to that woman who said that comment or did that thing than you would to one of your male friends. What this is going to do is this is going to cause her to get her hackles up, and all of a sudden conflict and tension starts. This is all happening, by the way, if there's not a lot of awareness. If there's awareness, she might say, hey, I didn't mean for it to come off like that. I respect you, I understand you, let's back this up. But again, we're just assuming that we're all unaware of ourselves here. So, to sum that all up, the way that you see the world and the beliefs that you have about this world have a very real impact on how the world actually treats you. One, because you're going to entertain different people depending on the belief that you have, going back to that female and all men suck mentality. You're going to attract all types in this world. You are going to interact with everybody, every kind of type, every kind of mentality in this world. That's not the question. It's who you choose to give your time to. It's not who you attract. You're going to attract everybody. It's who you entertain. And that's where your mindset comes in. So if you go out thinking that everybody of this particular group sucks, anytime you interact with them, they're going to suck, because you're going to assume that that's the norm, and you're not going to separate yourself from it. You're not going to separate yourself and start looking for a higher version of normal. That's the thing, is when you start seeing the world as a generally good place, if you make an effort to believe that the world is generally a good place, that people generally have the right ideas, maybe they're wounded, but people generally want to be good people, you're going to find more people that want to generally be good people. Now, that's one. The other way is when you have a mindset that somebody is intentionally harming you because of whatever beliefs you have about that particular type of person, you are immediately going to respond in a defensive or attacking or a shutdown kind of way. You're going to already be on your guard, which makes it very, very difficult for that person to respond in a harmonious way, right? So those are the two ways that your mindset can very literally change the way that people treat you. If you found this useful, like and subscribe. Happy healing.